Okay, we have the site plan. I have inserted here the basement. I can hide it, and I have the first floor, all the grid lines matching here. So the first thing we have to do is, if I do not hide the basement, because in the basement we have more columns. So I'm going to insert all the columns on the basement, and then I will extend those columns to the first floor or to the roof. Yeah. So let's go to architecture in columns, structural columns. By default, we have this 24 by 24, and that happens to be the same size that we have here, 2 by 2 feet. Okay. But first I'm going to edit type, and I'm going to change the material. And I'm going to use concrete material. This concrete cast in place. As always, check the sample size. 1 foot is not enough, so let's make it 6 feet. This is not a square, so this is 6 by 4. And then we can apply, and now all these columns that we are going to insert, they have the same material. And let's trace the columns here. Okay, so we have all the columns on all these grids. Take your time and make sure that the snapping point is always at the intersection between these two grid lines. Okay. This is not a column. This is a part of an interior wall. We'll do it later. But all these are columns. There you go. I'll keep inserting columns, but I want to see what I'm doing on the first floor. Okay, so make sure that those columns, okay, look at this. It's wrong because they go from level 0 to level 13. So what are the levels we have here? Oh, no, it's correct. Yes. Because in the east, no, the south elevation. So that's level -10. Okay, yeah, so it's wrong. So I have to start on level -10. I don't know what the name of your levels is, but this is the basement floor. So I have to select all these columns and move them down. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to select all the columns here, and they have to go from level -10 up to level 0 so far. There you go. So now we have this, and that's the thickness of the floor. I think it's around 2 feet. Yeah, so that's level 0, that's level 2. It can be around 2 feet or 1 foot and 6 inches, something like that. Okay, but in this case, it's 2 feet. So when I'm done with this, I'll keep inserting columns all around the building. Okay, I have almost all the columns now. Here, you see that we have columns that are in this grid line, but they are between these two grid lines. So they should be in the middle between this one and that one. Okay, so I'm going to model a line here. and I'm going to pick this midpoint and all these columns. I'm not doing another grid line, just this reference line should be enough. But yeah, I think this is the right way to do it. So I'm going to copy this one here, here, there, and now these ones. So now we have everything we need. And they are all going from levels from the basement to the ceiling to the basement floor to the basement ceiling. So now you can hide that basement plan, and we should know what columns we have here. Okay, so we have 4 columns here, so we can select these 4, and then we can take them. The top level can be level 13, which is my ceiling level. All these columns should be there. Because all these columns go from the basement to the roof, level 13. And now on the 3D view, you see the difference. Okay, so we see the columns. Okay, I did something wrong. So the base level is level -10, and the roof, the top level, is level -15. -10. So I select all those. Basement level -10, top level level 3. It's 2 from -10 to 30. The same thing here. I know that all these columns, the facade, they go up to level 13. And now let's find what other columns we have here. So these columns are not on the first floor, but all these double columns, they are. Okay, so these double columns here, those double columns there, and here, well, here I don't know. Probably we can extend these 4 and these 6 columns there. Okay, let's do it. So from the 3D view, I'm going to select all those up to level 13. Those up to level 13. And these 4. These 6 up to level 13. And I think that's enough for the columns. Now we have to work with the arches and the vault. Okay, so from the elevation, there are different ways to do that, but I'm going to create like a rib here for these 2 columns. And then we have the shell, which is the black line here. Okay, so it's difficult to see, but we can have like an arch at the top of these 2 columns. And then we have the black line, which is the shell, that it's the real vault. that covers the arches. Let's do this. As you can see, some of the vaults have the skylight, others don't have it. So we're going to create first the vault without the skylight, and then we will create skylights in the right vaults. So first the arch. So I'm going to, in this case, I think the modeling place works better. This is a structural, so I'm going to use, you can use roof or structural framing or whatever. I'm going to use structural framing in this case. And now I'm going to use extrusion. I want to select a grid with a letter. Okay. Because here we have numbers. So if we have numbers here, the plane, the perpendicular plane, is a grid with letters. And I'm going to select this start, end, and radius, something like that. And now we have to do something parallel to this. Offset doesn't work because we can't be accurate with the offset from this point to that point. We need another arc. And to do this, we can use the circle because I need to find out the center point of this circle. So it's somewhere here. So first I'm going to draw this auxiliary line until we find, you see, when we see this circle here, this is the center point of this arch. And now I can create another parallel circle, and the radius is this point here. Okay. Now I have to trim. I have to create these lines, and now I can trim. And it's too short. And okay. If for some reason here trim does not work, I can use this one, split element. So here, split element. Okay, so now I have trimmed this. I have to delete this line and finish. And there is something that overlaps here. So probably have two lines. Yeah. Now it works. Before changing this, probably I can change the material because that's made of concrete too. Okay, so I will change the material to concrete. And now on the 3D view, I want a top view, and I want to make it this thick. Okay. Where do we have arches now? We have arches here, the facade, where we have the double columns, and probably somewhere here. Okay. So if I keep working on the top view, I can copy. Remove constraint, and now I can copy this here, 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 and I'm not sure about that, so I have to see picture of the model. Okay. So in this case, yep, you see that sometimes we have this, we have a gap here between two arches, okay? And here we have the opening, and that opening, where is it? Probably it's like all this here. Okay, I think that's that's good for now. And now I want to create that shell or that roof, and I'm gonna do it with the component model in place. This is a roof. I'm going to use extrusion, and the plane. I'm going to pick the same grid A with the letter. And now if I want to trace that arch here, the best thing is to pick this. Now I have to go from this point to the midpoint. Here we have an opening. We'll do that later. I think this can be 6 inches. And now we can go in this direction. And here we can use the offset. I'm going to use offset 6 inches going outwards. And now we can trim these two. And I can mirror all these lines here. Mirror midpoint here. So now I have mirrored that, and now another trim. Okay. So if everything goes well, it should work now. Good. And now looking at the model, if we are working with this, it goes from this to the first 2 columns here, and then from the 2 columns to here. Okay, let's do it. On the 3D view, there's a gap between these 2 vaults, and we will solve this gap because it cannot, we can't have rain here between these. So I'm sure that he has thought of something. But just for the first arch, that will be enough. Okay, so on the next video, I will keep creating vaults, copying, and making the skylight here.